Hello, Alberta! Welcome to the Enbridge Tour Alberta for Cancer presented by RBC. I am your tour MC, Steve Klintberg-Nodge. Thank you for joining me this morning to kick off the 2021 tour. This is a celebration of all of the training, the team building, and of course, the life-changing funds that you have raised for the Alberta Cancer Foundation. As a community, you have accomplished a lot over the previous 12-year legacy of this event. But this year, for the first time ever, there are people cycling in support of each of the 17 cancer centers across the province, fundraising for their own centers in their own communities. This means that you are biking through the streets and countryside, through all corners, areas, and landscapes of this incredible province. The present borders of Alberta mark out the lands and communities of people who have lived on, developed their cultures, and been stewards here for many generations. We are on the traditional territories in Alberta of the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit. 5 treaties extend through Alberta. Treaty 8 in the north, Treaties 6 and 10 in the center and east, and Treaties 7 and 4 through the south. These treaties mark territories that have been home to many people, including the Cree, the Saulteaux, Blackfoot, Métis, the Dene, the Nakota Sioux, the Blackfoot Nations, which include the Siksika, the Piikani, the Kainai, the Tsuut'ina Nation, and the Stoney Nakoda First Nations. I am honored to join you on these lands filled with a spirit of hope and solemn reflection. I will get to see many of you personally today on the Stoney Nakoda Nation and wish you well as you journey off to different beautiful parts of this land. As you pedal and sweat and celebrate today, I invite you to reflect on the joys and responsibilities that come with honoring each other and the beautiful spaces that we are lucky enough to share. And in particular, to reflect on the progress we can create when we work together towards a common goal. All of us have united around the intention to eliminate the threat of cancer in our lifetime. Let me tell you, you are making a difference. The funds you are raising through the Enbridge Tour Alberta for Cancer are propelling critical equipment and care needs right across our province. You are funding research and clinical trials. You are supporting healthcare workers alongside the mental health and financial needs of cancer patients and their families. And you are helping to fund all of Alberta's 17 cancer centers. To tell us more about the positive impact you are having for the cancer community in our province and to reveal this year's fundraising total, please welcome the CEO of the Alberta Cancer Foundation, Wendy Beauchesne.
Good morning, cyclists. My name is Wendy Beauchesne and I'm the CEO of the Alberta Cancer Foundation, and I'm very excited to welcome you to the opening ceremonies of the Enbridge Tour Alberta for Cancer presented by RBC. You will hear from some great speakers shortly, but I wanted to take this time to say thank you. Just 6 months ago, we weren't sure if this event would even happen this year, but yet here we are. And thanks to the leadership of our partner Enbridge, many sponsors, and all of you, today we're having the most Alberta cycling event this province has ever seen, the Enbridge Tour Alberta for Cancer. In fact, this year, for the first time ever, we have teams who are cycling to support patients at all 17 cancer centers in Alberta. That's right, from High River to Hinton, Edmonton to Calgary, Medicine Hat to Fort McMurray, all 17 of Alberta's cancer centers are being represented and supported in this year's tour. Thank you for every dollar you have raised and every kilometer you will pedal. You are going the distance today, not only on your bike, but also for the cancer centers and for cancer patients across this big, beautiful province. And now, the best part of the day, though final numbers are still being calculated, I'm pleased to say we're going to be raising around $1.7 million this year to support Albertans who are facing a cancer diagnosis, both now and in the future. Funds raised support urgent needs, critical equipment, and groundbreaking research. These funds help make life better for Albertans facing a cancer diagnosis today and foster new discoveries in the treatments of tomorrow. This very special community of cyclists who make this event happen each year is so inspirational. None of this happens without you. And we think it's going to be even better when we're all back together again in person next year. Yeah, that's right, July 2022. We will start strong and finish stronger with the Tour Alberta for Cancer in person. You can visit touralbertaforcancer.ca to register for July 2022. Okay, I hope you have a great day. As you head out, please be safe and most importantly, have fun.
You heard Wendy. Mark your calendars, July 2022. We will be back in person touring together. Actually, you know what? You can do better than just marking your calendars. Head over to touralbertaforcancer.ca, click on 2022 and hit that register button, and then mark your calendar for the weekend of July 23rd, 2022, because we'll have some kilometers to cover together. And I don't want to breeze past the other major news that Wendy announced. You raised $1.7 million. $1.7 million for Albertans facing cancer. And not to single people out, but there is some major kudos to go around. I want to congratulate our first ever Tire Track Jersey cyclists. These are the first 10 tour participants to raise $10,000. Give it up for Ben Swee raising $10,245. He is the Enbridge team captain. Mario Reagan, $10,394 from the Tom Baker Cancer Conquerors. Bruce Geisinger, $10,826 from Team Rogers. Myrna Peets, $16,498 from the Suncor Conquistadors. Dale Enns sitting in at $24,303. Not a team, but touring for his sister-in-law Brenda, who passed in June. Dale, I hope that you have a wonderful ride in honor of Brenda. Kicking it up, Vern Yu from Enbridge at $54,135. And then also from Team Enbridge, you heard his story earlier on in the social media fun times that we have had over the last couple of months. Our top fundraiser this year coming in at $85,050. Give it up for Max Chan. Just a huge commitment from all of them. And I'm sure that in the time that it took me to read those numbers, each of their totals have probably gone up. And we've probably even found our final 3 Tire Track Jersey cyclists, because Scott Webb, John Savoy, and Simon Phillips are hot on the trail of $10,000 as their new fundraising milestone. In fact, our overall total today has already raised, from what Wendy said a moment ago, we are at $1,786,545 raised for the Alberta Cancer Foundation. Keep it coming. Wow. Wow. Your fundraising has been amazing this year. You have been unflappable even through the pandemic, because you realize that cancer does not stop. And I know how many of you have taken advantage of the community support that tour teams and sponsors show, especially when it came to jumping on fundraising matching opportunities. I loved seeing an email go out in the morning letting you know that a sponsor, say Enbridge, was going to match up to $50,000. And by the afternoon, that money was raised and matched. To explain more about why Enbridge has been so committed to this event for over a decade and is determined to involve more communities and more sponsors, we went outside for a chat with Enbridge's Executive Vice President and President Liquid Pipeline, who also happens to be the tour's Sponsorship Committee Chair. Please welcome Vern Yu.
I'm Vern Yu, and I've been involved with the tour for 13 years, and this year I'm chairing the ride committee. Well, I think cycling is a great thing that we can do outdoors, and in a pandemic we're able to be active, and it allows people to feel like they've accomplished something, not just fundraise. So whether it's just riding around the block or riding 160 kilometers, you're still able to make a goal for yourself and do something in the great outdoors while supporting the Alberta Cancer Foundation. At Enbridge, we've been supporting the Alberta Cancer Foundation for quite a long time, probably close to 2 decades, and directly supporting the tour and previously the ride for about 13 years. It's important for us to give back to the communities where we live and work, as we're a part of that community, and we feel it's critically important for our employees to be engaged with that community as well. I think it's important for our company, Enbridge, to lead in not just business, but within the community. And doing something like the tour, where we can be actively involved in helping out regular Albertans, I think is very critical to build trust for our company, make us feel that we're giving back, not just making money. We've been lucky that a number of our partners in the business community have chosen to join us as co-sponsors of the tour. There's a great number of banks, accounting firms, engineering firms, and all other kinds of companies that we do business with who have stepped up and joined us in this great cause. Have a great tour, everyone.
Thank you, Vern. The commitment that has been shown by the tour's sponsors this year is incredible. I am always amazed that sponsors not only support the event, but also gather teams and fundraise very energetically. Our title partner, Enbridge, has 124 members on their team, has raised $275,000, and has teams cycling all around Alberta today. Our presenting partner, RBC, has 20 members on their team, has raised $56,000. RBC, enjoy your tour from the Bears Paw YMCA in Northwest Calgary. It is going to be a beautiful ride. Our Northern Lights partners, they are EY, Graham, McCarthy Tetro, and NOV. These 4 teams are gearing up right now for tours in Edmonton, the Rocky Mountains. The EY Crankers are pedaling out to Bragg Creek, and NOV is doing the beautiful pathway on the other side of Calgary out to Chestermere. Have a great time today. Our prairie partners are KPMG, who are already rounding through downtown Calgary right now out to Chestermere, Shuris Murphy, and Tundra, whose teams are out on the pedals as we speak. They are already having amazing tours through Alberta. And big ups to our Foothills partners, Accenture and Deloitte. Thank you so much for your commitment to the tour. And finally, thank you to the tour's gear partner, Jackroo, because look at these beautiful jerseys. I love these. Thank you, Jackroo. Now, no matter where in Alberta you are choosing to tour today, stay safe. This goes for everyone from Team Vermilion up in Vermilion to Wheels for a Cure in Fort Mac, Shawcor in Canmore, Imagine Wireless looping the Calgary cycle tracks. Safety is #1 here at the Enbridge Tour for Cancer presented by RBC. Always cycle predictably. Avoid distractions and respect other cyclists. You also want to respect motor vehicles, and for those of you who might be in wildlife corridors, respect any wildlife that you may encounter. Do not get close to animals. Definitely wear a helmet. Call out any hazards you may see so that other cyclists are aware. Refrain from using your cell phones and other audio devices while you're cycling. Remember, cycling on roads is governed under the same laws as cars. Obey traffic laws and authorities and follow all provincial directives. If you must pass a cyclist, do so on the left-hand side. Make sure there is adequate room to keep a safe distance apart and use verbal signals as well. And please don't draft. Cyclists who are ahead of you have the right of way. Please, everybody, go at your own pace. As always, the tour is never a race, and you have so much beautiful Alberta scenery to enjoy. Use appropriate hand signals. So, left-hand turn, extend your left hand out straight from your body, point to the left, keep the other hand on the handlebar. Right-hand turn, Other way, right arm out, pointing the direction you are about to go and where you're going to turn. If you are slowing down, you need to signal to cyclists who are behind you that you are slowing down. So please raise your left arm at a 90-degree angle and let them know that you are going to be slowing down. And to stop, grab that hand, put it behind your back, give yourself a nice little fist, and there you go. That is going to signal to folks behind you that you are about to stop. If you see other cyclists on the route, please give them lots of space. Everyone's comfort levels around other people, groups, and physical distancing varies. So please be respectful and patient and put on those tour masks when you're in groups. If you are in the mountains, please carry some bear spray and be aware of respecting wildlife, as I had said previously. And finally, if you are in an emergency situation or if you witness one, please call 911 and stay safe. We want everyone to have a safe and wonderful day out there as you collectively cycle through so many landscapes of this beautiful province. And as you tour, think about why you have decided to undertake this momentous journey. We all have cancer stories that motivate us to get in the saddle. Last week, I was fortunate enough to head up to Leduc and share a ride around Telford Lake with one of the most intrepid cancer survivors I have ever met. Please welcome the captain of Cancer Crushers, Jeff Wesley.
My name is Jeff Wesley. 2013, I was diagnosed with metastasized pulmonary adenocarcinoma. I was cycling back and forth to work. In the wintertime, I was starting to cough and didn't know what was going on. So I went and saw the doctor. They sent me in for a chest x-ray, and they found that my right lung had totally collapsed. So he said he wanted me to go in for a CT scan to find out exactly what was going on. Went in for the CT scan. The doctors told me it might not be cancer, but it's cancer. So one of the doctors told me that I should stop cycling. His main argument was that it was too much work, too difficult for a guy with one lung, and he was worried that I was going to damage myself more. At that point, I'd cycled my whole life. I never bought a car until I was in my mid-30s when I got married. So losing the bike wasn't an option. So I did a couple different types of chemotherapies. I was only supposed to live for 4 to 6 months. That was the prognosis at the end. After the first year, I talked to my son, told him that we needed to do the Enbridge ride. So in 2015, we joined the Enbridge ride. My cancer had grown to the side of my lung and grew through the side of the lung, and the lung started leaking fluids. So the fluids filled up my chest and collapsed both lungs. So they put a chest tube in. I did the Enbridge ride with the chest tube. In between the ride, I would repack them, put them back on, go back out and continue the ride. After that, 2015, I was accepted into one of the clinical trials. The Alberta Cancer Foundation has huge impact on the clinical trials at the Cross Cancer Institute. I got into the nivolumab trials, which is the immunotherapy drug. I've been on that particular clinical trial for 3 years, so 6 times longer than I was supposed to live in the first place. So very, very lucky with that. Sat down, I told him that if I could get back on my bike, I was going back and doing another Enbridge ride, because I needed to give back and I needed to get on my bike. Last year in November, my sister was diagnosed with colon cancer. Last year in December, my father was diagnosed with prostate cancer. And this year in February, my sister passed away. So her fight with cancer was only 3 months during the middle of the pandemic. And cancer itself is bad enough, but with the pandemic and with the social isolation, and the Cross Cancer was in lockdown, so nobody in the family could visit her. My sister absolutely loves Christmas, loves having everyone over at her house for Christmas, and her Christmas was alone at the Cross Cancer. Last year on the virtual ride, riding with my sister, that was the first time in my life I ever rode with my sister. So, that's something no one's going to take away. It was an incredible experience. For me, I think one of the most important parts of the Enbridge ride has been, the first time I did it, I was trying to give back a little bit to the Cross Cancer Institute for the work that they've done on the appreciation I have with all the doctors and nurses and everybody at the Cross Cancer. The ride, that first ride, the most important thing was I needed to ride for my son so that he could ride with something meaningful like that and something to remember me by. Because at that point I was already just a few months over when I was supposed to have already died. When I do the Enbridge ride, the Enbridge tour, I cry at the end. When I get to the finish line, I can't stop to cheer because I know that all these guys are out there. They don't know me from anyone, but all these guys are out there for me. It's the ride for cancer, and cancer is my middle name. It's been so long. I've been incredibly lucky that I've survived 8 years and counting. For sure, the Alberta Cancer Foundation has done an incredible job. When I stayed at the Cross Cancer Institute, they have stickers all over all the equipment that they've donated, and you can see a huge impact of what they have done.
Thank you, Jeff. It was an honor to film with you, and especially to cycle with you and your wife after you shared your story. You've been touched so many times by cancer. You felt it in your own body, in your family, in your friends. You've shed tears and you have lost parts of yourself, literal and figurative. But you are pedaling on. It was such an honor to cycle with you. We might not all be at the same start line this year, but we still stand together. We stand to honor this single bicycle we see in front of us. This bike isn't ridden, but it is cherished. It represents the loved ones we've lost, those who have ridden that bike before, our fathers, our sisters, our children, our friends. Still loved, still missed. You have their names written on your helmets. You have their photos pinned to your jerseys. We send this bike out first from the starting line because it holds our promise to them, our moments together, our memories, our joy. That's what carries this bike. That's what carries us throughout our days. We also see the survivors, those with yellow flags, touring with us today. Cancer does a lot, but it cannot quench the spirit. It cannot silence courage. You have shown this to be true. We can see it. Together, we are gaining ground. So we dedicate this tour to you and all those who came before you. As we cycle, we will think of your strength. That's the power of the tour. We are all on one journey. We tour through the Badlands of Drumheller, the coulees of Lethbridge, through the fields of Vermilion and the forests of Fort Mac. We tour through the river valley of Edmonton and along the arc of the Bow River in Calgary and over the snow-touched passes of the Rocky Mountains. Start strong, finish stronger. Alberta, let's tour!